In the beginning of this chapter, I mentioned that we use probability to make predictions, to predict the weather, to predict how many times somebody will get a hit. Well, that's what we get to do today. So we get to use the different ideas that we have been talking about in the last few weeks and actually make some predictions. So let's take a look at the first problem here. If you randomly select a person, what is the probability that his or her favorite color is yellow or purple? So we have to look at this chart over here, and we go over to yellow and purple. Well, a success, there are 36 people that like purple. There are 12 people that like yellow. So we want yellow or purple. And so what we're going to end up doing is setting up our probability this way. Probability of selecting a yellow or a purple. And so we're going to take the successes and put those on top. So I put a little dot next to the successes there, 36 and 12. Those are people who like those two colors. And then we've got to divide by the total number of students. And so we have 94s plus 85 plus 60. We have the 36, the 12, and the 13. So when we add up all these numbers, on the top of the fraction, we're left with 48. The bottom of the fraction, we add up those numbers, we get 300. And so from here, what we might end up doing is just reducing the fraction. So I see that first number I see that goes into it is 3, and then also a 2 goes into it as well. So it could have divided by 6 initially, but this will work. So I do that division, and I end up with 16 over 100. And so actually, we could even divide by more than that, 6. We could have divided by 6 times by another 2, so that would have been 12 altogether. But in this case, we'll get the answer this way. Divide by 4, and we end up with a 4 over 25. And that's what we're looking for there. They just wanted the probability. Well, if you randomly select a person, what is the probability that their favorite color would be those two, yellow or purple? 4/25 is what we would say. Taking a look at the next one, here's where we get to actually do some predictions. So there was a problem that we had solved before. It's just a probability problem. It's the number of successes over the total number of outcomes. We're still going to use that concept, but this time we're going to have an extra step involved. So let's take a look at the problem. In a group of 4,500 people, how many people do you predict would choose blue as their favorite color? All right, so let's figure out the probability of a blue. Well, blue is right here, 94. So 94 out of all of the total. We know the total is 300, so we can just rewrite that number. Now, this is the probability. Could reduce the fraction, but I'm going to leave it the way it is for now. And what I'm going to do is, remember, the successes are on top, the total outcomes are on the bottom. Well, this is in a group of 4,500 people, so they want us to predict how many people would like blue. So how many people would, a success would be the person who likes blue out of 4,500. So this right here represents our total. And so what we want is we want to come up with an equivalent fraction. See, I'm going to write down 94 300ths equals 4,500 on the bottom, and I want to figure out how many people out of those 4,500 will like blue. Well, the people who like blue is on top of the fraction, because that's what it is. A success is in this case, is the people who like blue. And so now we've got ourselves a proportion. So the way we've solved this is by cross-multiplying. I'm going to multiply these two numbers right here, and then I'm going to multiply these two numbers here. So I've got now 300x equals, and then I'll do the 94 times by 4,500. So again, 300x equals, do that multiplication, and we end up with 423. And it looks like there's 3 zeros involved there, so 423,000 is what we get. All we have to do from there is just divide by 300. We'll get our answer. And so I know these two zeros will cancel out, and then just 3 into this number. Does 3 go in there? Add the digits. 4 plus 2 makes 6, plus 3 makes 9. Yes, so it does go in there evenly. So let's figure out how many times. So 3 goes into that 4 one time, so I know there's a 1 there, and it goes into the 12 would be left over because they have 3 goes into 4 one time with 1 left over, so 12. That would be 4 times evenly, and then it goes into 3 one time evenly with 1 0, so there it is, 1,410 people would end up liking blue. That would be our prediction according to the probability that we set up. So in a school of 600 students, how many students do you predict would choose red or green as their favorite color? Well, red right here, 85, and green, 60. So we need the probability of red or green. So we said 85 was a success. Those are the people who like red. Green, well, the number green is 60, so that's a success, over the total, which is 300. So all we have to do is add those two numbers together, and we get 145 out of 300. So I need to predict out of 600 people. So this, again, is a total right here. Out of those 600 people, who will like those two colors? Well, let's go ahead and reduce this fraction real quick. It'll be easy enough to just divide by 5 just to make the numbers a little bit smaller for us. So when we do that, we're left with 29/60. So I'm going to use that number now, 29/60. We're going to set it equal to, now we've got a total of 600, so that goes on the bottom. And up top, we want to find out how many people out of that school of 600 will like the colors red or green. So we're going to set up this proportion. So we're just going to cross multiply 29 times by 600, and then x times by 60. So we've got 60x equals, and then we've got 29 times by that 600. So we bring down our 60x, multiply the 29 and the 600, and we get 17,400. So all you have to do from there is do some division. You've got your answer. So we'll divide by 60, and these zeros will cancel out. And so x ends up equaling 290 students. Well, last one for this part. And it says, in a group of 100 people, how many do you predict would choose yellow as their favorite color? Well, yellow only has 12 people. So we'll say probability of a yellow equals 12 out of 300. So what we can do is we can reduce this fraction. I see that actually I can divide it by 12. See, 12 goes into these two numbers. I know it does because 12 has factors of 3 and 4. The divisibility rule for 3 is if you add the digits and you can divide 3 into that sum. And so 3 does go into 3. And the rule for 4 is you look at the last two digits. Does the number 4 go into a number that ends in double zeros? Yes, I know it goes into 100, so I know it goes into 300 as well. So let's see how many times. 1 over 25. Well, this is the probability of a yellow, but they don't want that. They want one that's not yellow. Predict how many would not choose yellow. Well, the probability of not a yellow would end up being 25 minus 1. We've got to find out how many people would like yellow is 1, so the people who don't like yellow would be 24 out of that 25. So this is the one we're going to end up using. 24/25. And we're going to set it equal to, now how many people? There are 100 people here. And then from there, we end up going and multiplying the 24 times 100. So that makes 24 times by 100 equals, and then I multiply these two, x times by 25, so 25x. And so I've got 2400 equals 25x. And so from that point, I end up dividing by this 25, and we'll get our answer right away here. X equals, in this case, we've got 96. 96 people is what we end up seeing. So 4 people, if you got 4, 4 is the number that would like yellow, but 96 would be the number that do not like yellow. Well, those are the first 4 problems you'll end up seeing on tonight's homework. Part 2 will have another set of problems. Take a look at it.